Today is February 25th. Welcome to Big Book Daily. My name is Rob. I am an alcoholic. It is a thrill, honor, and joy to be here with you today as we journey through the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous and the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions. Today we're going to be reading Dr. Bob's Nightmare, pages 177 through 179, and we're going to be journeying through step 7 of the 12 and 12, page 74. We're going to finish off that page today. Hope you all are doing well. Hope you all are warm, healthy, and safe. And let's get to the good stuff today. All right, everybody. So if you'll recall from yesterday in Dr. Bob's Nightmare, it's certainly getting worse. His malady is certainly getting worse. As a matter of fact, he talks about his experiences in the hospitals and the sanitariums, but not all of them. He says there's probably not enough space for all of his stories. But in the last paragraph, it does say that this routine went on with few interruptions for 17 years. You know, where he would have the nightmares, need to earn his money, had to get liquor, smuggle it home, got drunk, had the jitters, had to take large doses of sedatives just to make it impossible for him to work some more. I mean, it was insanity, and it felt like he was trapped. And once again, it gets worse before it does get better, but I promise you, it does get better. All right, so we're going to start on the bottom of page 177 today, and we're going to read up to page 180. For the benefit of those experimentally inclined, I should mention the so-called beer experiment. When beer first came back, I thought I was safe. I could drink all I wanted of that. It was harmless. Nobody ever got drunk on beer. So I filled the cellar full with the permission of my good wife. It was not long before I was drinking at least a case and a half a day. I put on 30 pounds of weight in about 2 months, looked like a pig, and was uncomfortable from shortness of breath. It then occurred to me that after one was all smelled up with beer, nobody could tell what had been drunk. So I began to fortify my beer with straight alcohol. Of course, the result was very bad, and that ended the beer experiment. About the time of the beer experiment, I was thrown in with a crowd of people who attracted me because of their seeming poise, health, and happiness. They spoke with great freedom from embarrassment, which I can never do, and they seemed very much at ease on all occasions and appeared very healthy. More than these attributes, they seemed to be happy. I was self-conscious and ill at ease most of the time. My health was at a breaking point, and I was thoroughly miserable. I sensed that they had something that I did not have, from which I might readily profit. I learned that it was something of a spiritual nature, which did not appeal to me very much, but I thought it could do no harm. I gave the matter much time and study for the next 2.5 years, but I still got tight every night nevertheless. I read everything that I could find and talked to everyone who I thought knew anything about it. My wife became deeply interested in it, and it was her interest that sustained me, though I at no time sensed that it might be an answer to my liquor problem. How my wife kept her faith and courage during all those years, I'll never know. But she did. If she had not, I know that I would have been dead a long time ago. For some reason, we alcoholics seem to have the gift of picking out the world's finest women. Why they should be subjected to the tortures we inflict upon them, I cannot explain. About this time, a lady called up my wife one Saturday afternoon, saying she wanted me to come over that evening to meet a friend of hers who might help me. It was the day before Mother's Day, and I had come home plastered, carrying a big potted plant which I had set down on the table, and forthwith went upstairs and passed out. The next day she called again. Wishing to be polite, though I felt very badly, I said, "Let's make the call," and extracted from my wife with a promise that we would not stay over 15 minutes. We entered her house at exactly 5 o'clock, and it was 11:15 when we left. I had a couple of shorter talks with this man afterward, and stopped drinking abruptly. This dry spell lasted for about 3 weeks. Then I went to Atlantic City to attend several days' meeting of a national society of which I was a member. I drank all the scotch they had on the train, and bought several quarts on my way to the hotel. This was on Sunday. I got tight that night, stayed sober Monday till after dinner, and then proceeded to get tight again. I drank all I dared in the bar, and then I went to my room to finish the job. Tuesday, I started in the morning, getting well organized by noon. I did not want to disgrace myself, so I then checked out. I bought some more liquor on the way to the depot. I had to wait some time for the train. I remember nothing from then on until I woke up at a friend's house in a town near home. These good people notified my wife, who sent my newly made friend over to get me. He came and got me home and to bed. It gave me a few drinks that night and 1 bottle of beer the next morning. That was June 10th, 1935. And that was my last drink. As I write, nearly 4 years have passed. Alright guys, a lot to be said there. We'll definitely come back to that in a minute. Now, if you'll recall from the 12 and 12, we are on step 7, which is humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. And we've been talking about humility for a great portion of this chapter. And one of the last lines that we read yesterday was, "We may still have no very high opinion of humility as a desirable personal virtue, but we do recognize it as a necessary aid to our survival." In other words, for me, I may not really want it, but I need it in order to survive. And we're going to be building on that, and I absolutely love this next paragraph coming up. So we're on page 74. We're going to be finishing off the page today. "But when we have taken a square look at some of these defects, have discussed them with another, and have become willing to have them removed, our thinking about humility commences to have a wider meaning. By this time, in all probability, we have gained some measure of release from our more devastating handicaps. We enjoy moments in which there is something like real peace of mind. To those of us who have hitherto known only excitement, depression, or anxiety, in other words, to all of us, this newfound peace is a priceless gift. Something new indeed has been added. Where humility had formerly stood for a forced feeding on humble pie, it now begins to mean the nourishing ingredient which can give us serenity. This improved perception of humility starts another revolutionary change in our outlook. Our eyes begin to open to the immense values which have come straight out of painful ego puncturing. Until now, our lives have been largely devoted to running from pain and problems. We fled from them as from a plague. We never wanted to deal with the fact of suffering. Escape via the bottle was always our solution. Character building through suffering might be alright for some saints, but it certainly didn't appeal to us. Wow, there is a lot in those 2 paragraphs right there. Absolutely love the part where it says here, some of these defects, we discuss them with another. We become willing to have them removed. And our thinking about humility commences to have a wider meaning. A little further down right here, we enjoy moments in which there is something like real peace of mind. To those of us who have hitherto known only excitement, depression, or anxiety. Now, I don't know about you all, but when I was drinking, there was a lot of depression and anxiety there. There was a lot of insanity. There was a lot of lies I kept up with or tried to keep up with, which caused more anxiety and depression. To go from that to doing a little bit of work, looking at some of these defects, discussing them with another person, to discussing them with my higher power, praying about them, becoming willing to have them removed. When I did just a little bit of work, and again, you don't have to get it all right off the bat, but when I started doing just a little bit of work, and doing what this program is teaching me to do, which is forcing me to be humble, here it is. This newfound peace is a priceless gift. Alright, I'm going to try not to be so preachy here, but I'm just going to tell you my experience. I've said it a million times. Sobriety, if it wasn't worth it, I wouldn't do all the work. One of the greatest things that I've gained in sobriety is peace of mind. A newfound peace, and it is a priceless gift. I didn't know what peace was. I'm going to be honest with you. I did not know what peace was until I became sober. Because it forced me, it talks about changing our outlook in the last paragraph here. This improved perception of humility starts another revolutionary change in our outlook. It forced me to change my outlook. when I was no longer carrying all the baggage, when I was able to work these steps and lay a lot of this stuff down and let a lot of this stuff go, I started seeing the good in life. It's, I sound like an old man, but like I can go outside now and I can just look around at my higher power's creation with a sense of awe and wonder. I never did that before. I never did that while I was drinking. When I'm inside, I can look at my family with a sense of awe and wonder and gratitude. I can look at my boy, and I can be present with him, smelling his bubblegum shampoo, and then thinking to myself, how much longer is he going to be using bubblegum shampoo? I can listen to my daughter's little voice as she's trying to learn to read. And I can thank my higher power that I have a daughter and I have a son, and they're healthy and they're safe. I can thank the God of my understanding for my wife, who, just like Dr. Bob said, is an absolute saint that put up with so much and yet still chooses to be with me. I had a friend in the program one time tell me, if you look for the bad, you're going to find it. If you look for the good, you're going to find it. I had to change my outlook. And that has given me this newfound peace, which is a priceless gift. And I just thank my higher power today for that. These promises, I encourage you guys to go read them again. I mean, they will come true. They call them the 9th step promises, but I think they started coming true for me as soon as I started being willing to do the work. They started coming true. So if you're on the fence of whether this whole sobriety thing is worth it, or you think, man, I don't want to give up drinking, let me tell you this. Sobriety is so much better than just not drinking. The things that you'll gain, it's worth it. It is so worth it. And last thing I'll say about Dr. Bob's whole situation, I think it is so amazing that, obviously we know the backstory. That friend of his is Bill W. And it was kind of cool. In the beginning of the book, you hear his perspective of everything, and it falls right in line with Dr. Bob's. And we're going to finish off his chapter tomorrow and see what specifically Dr. Bob has gained with sobriety. Truly, it's a miracle to be here, guys. It's a miracle for me to be sober today. And if you are listening to this and you are sober today, you're a miracle. And if nothing else goes right today and you still remain sober, that is a good day. I promise you that. It is a good day. But my friends, that's all we've got for today. Enough of my rambling. It is an honor to be here in this Lifeboat of Recovery with you. And I look forward to seeing you back here tomorrow.